Everyone has an opinion on Meghan and Harry's relationship. For some, she's an icon of feminism. For others, she's the apex predator of the dating chain. Some claim that Harry is absolutely submissive, and others affirm that he's the new gentleman standard. One thing is for sure, they have rocked the news this year, and everyone wants to know if Meghan is either a Mexican soap opera villain or a victim of an evil monarchy. Either way, their couple dynamics speaks for itself, and since you made my Oprah interview analysis get to 10,000 likes, we met again to reveal the truth of their relationship. Meghan herself has been the target of dozens of conspiracy theories. My favorite one is about that photo in 1996 at Buckingham Palace and people claiming that she was some sort of mix between a Terminator and Hello magazine, patiently studying her future husband. Anyway, I'm a huge fan of any kind of conspiracy, so this is my promise. If this bonus episode gets to 25,000 likes, I'll do another debunking or confirming the most popular Meghan Markle conspiracies. Just hit that like button. Remember that I've got a gift for you, my body language buddies, my 100 body language tips in a free PDF that you can find in the description. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the body language guy, and together we'll uncover the secrets that people try to hide from us. The first time the couple was seen in public was in 2017 at the Invictus Game in Toronto. There are many photos references, but especially relevant is this 15-second clip. There are 7 body language clues in here. Let's see how many can you spot. It's easier to read body language clues when they happen one after another, but some have more weight than others. Here, the most relevant is, in fact, the last one, the walking rhythm that matches perfectly. When you're reading a couple's body language, the single most important factor is how are they synchronized to each other. There's another clip where you can see it better. The next one is how Harry takes the lead. Just by a bit, that's more than enough, and that's the natural intention that is programmed by evolution in all male. Thousands of years ago we used to protect females from anything with teeth, so it made sense to walk a bit in front of them. Of course, today it's less common for a woman to depend on her man's physical protection from wild beasts, but women still like to be with men that make them feel safe. That's why this walking dynamic with the man just a bit in front of her is so common. The next body language clue is the neutral hands. Usually when a couple is holding hands, the man puts his arm in front of hers. It's the same protection dynamic. Then you either see both thumbs pointing forward or the back of his hand showing forward, like hiding the woman's hand. Some body language clues have both a positive and negative meaning. In this case, that back of the hand forward positive meaning is protection. And this depends on the situation. A good example to understand this is Ben Affleck holding hands with Jennifer Garner back in the day. You notice that they usually were holding hands in a neutral way, but when she was pregnant, he shifted to a protective backhand show. Well, Meghan was not under the tabloid's rainstorm yet, so that neutral holding hands was okay. The next clue seems not as important, but it will come in handy later on. Harry was quite upright. He was not exactly puffing his chest out, but that slight leaning forward is his normal posture. It's a common error to think that a person that excels in something that is very public is automatically going to have a charismatic or outgoing attitude when they are not engaging in those activities. You might remember a similar phenomenon with my analysis of Britney Spears. It's like we had two different people, the one that performs and the one that gives the interviews. In Harry's case, he's got quite a record both in sports and his military career, but when he shifts to interview mode or social event mode, he shows a fair amount of shyness. Just watch this 10-second clip from 2015 when he and Meghan hadn't met yet. What can you spot?
Well, thank you for talking to us here in New Zealand. On the plane over, you said you've always wanted to come to this country. I know we're only kind of third day in, but how have you found it so far?
It's been fantastic, more than I could have ever hoped for.
It's easy to see that he was not comfortable at the moment, even if there was no way of telling why he was behaving like that. But it just so happens to be the norm in other scenarios, like this one from 2013.
Yeah, back to the snow. So no, four and a half months, it's gone really quickly, but I'm very, very happy to be back.
And how do you think it help you progress?
Well, in fact, those emotional clues seem very odd since he was talking about coming home from Afghanistan. Maybe he prefers staying in the scorching desert instead of returning to Buckingham Palace. But jokes aside, it's well known that even if both William and Harry were deeply affected by Diana's death, it was Harry who struggled the most with that tragedy. Every person processes emotions differently, and maybe he was never able to fully recover from the fact that everything around him was a constant reminder that their mother is no longer with them. And that's an important fact that is about to be useful. We had a few body language clues left from the original video. He's got a tense face and she's way more relaxed. He displays more pacifying gestures too. I mention all this because one of the strongest arguments about their relationship is that she's a dominant narcissistic woman that tricked him into doing all this. Well, she had the benefit of the doubt right up to Oprah's interview when her credibility went down just as Boris Johnson's eyebrows. It was no coincidence that at that time many people confirmed their suspicions that Meghan Markle was a narcissist. For instance, the tale of Kate making her cry. I already ruled that out as a lie. Meghan had already shown some envy when William and Kate married. This is what she wrote on her now closed blog, The Tick. Little girls dream of being princesses. I, for one, was all about Shira, Princess of Power. We're definitely not talking about Cinderella here. Round women seem to retain this childhood fantasy. Just look at the pomp and circumstance surrounding the royal wedding and endless conversation about Princess Kate. Yet Meghan herself had a fancy royal wedding costing 45 million, babe. And speaking of envy, the uncanny similarity between Kate's wedding reception dress and Meghan's wedding dress when she married Trevor Engelson 5 months later cannot be unseen. I would not be surprised that she saw the royal wedding like this. Well, some recollections might vary. On the other hand, the media has found quite some instances when Meghan copied Diana's dresses. I plead guilty of having fed these memes too. But let's be honest and do some math. Diana was in the eye of the public storm for 15 years. That's more than 5,000 daily possible combinations of dresses. How is Meghan supposed to never match her at least a handful of times? Hell, even Kate has done it. Even the Queen has done it. With the difference that the Queen has 5 puppies because apparently she collects puppies just like Thanos collects gems. And before you run to blast me in the comments, yes, those black dresses are common in the Remembrance Day, honoring those that died in World War I, and that's why they are wearing those puppies. This is a good way to illustrate our confirmation bias. When we want confirmation about our opinion, what we think, only a handful of proofs are going to be enough to confirm our suspicions. That is, until statistics hit us in the throat. But I'm no fashion police, but what I do have are a very particular set of skills. Skills I have acquired over a very long career. Skills that make me a nightmare for people like Meghan. And of course you remember this clip from Oprah's interview.
I've never looked up my husband online. I just didn't feel a need to because everything that I needed to know he was sharing with me, right? Or everything that we thought I needed to know he was telling me.
But maybe it's a bit harder to recall that Meghan had used the "Harry told me everything" line 4 years ago. But back then, Harry was on camera by her side, so we have the advantage to watch his reaction when she says that. And trust me, you want to pay attention to his reaction.
I think for both of us, though, it was really refreshing because given that I didn't know a lot about him, everything that I've learned about him, I learned through him as opposed to having grown up around. I think for both of us, though, it was really refreshing because given that I didn't know a lot about him, everything that I've learned about him, I learned through him as opposed to having grown up around.
That's quite a change in attitude in just 10 seconds. He goes from absolute delight about the woman by his side, the woman that he's engaged with, to a micro-expression of frustration right at the same time that Meghan says that she didn't know much about him. He even tenses his jaw in covert anger at the end, and that is not something that's part of his baseline. This is one of the things that confused me a bit about Harry. Everyone at Buckingham has said that he's always been a sweet and nice person, but there are times that he shows extreme aggression, especially on those rapid changes of attitude. There's even extremely rapid blinking, so we know that he's emotionally affected by the moment. I don't think that he liked what he just heard. Now, can you guess what happens when Harry is asked about Meghan being a future member of the royal family? Boy, this is gonna be good.
That you together represent something new for the royal family?
I don't know if it's something new. I think it's for me, it's an added member of the family. It's another team player as part of the bigger team. And for all of us, all we want to do is be able to carry out the right engagements, carry out our work, and
a lot happened in just 20 seconds. First of all, most important, what did Harry say? He was talking about Meghan as an added member of the family. He was sure that this was going to work, and you notice that he talks with absolute confidence. He keeps his chin up, he has a regular speech speed, and most important, there's no rapid blinking. If there are no emotional markers or reactions, then what the person is saying is coming to them naturally. This is something that Harry really believed. But what was Meghan's reaction as he was saying that? And this requires a replay to spot the split second when Harry says, "It's another team player, it's part of the bigger team."
It's another team player as part of the bigger team. And for all of us, all we want to do is be able to carry out the right engagements, carry out our work, and
yes, Harry looks at Meghan. Meghan fakes a smile, and how do I know that it's fake? Because as soon as Harry looks away from her, she drops her eyes and relaxes her mouth. Then she looks away from him and tenses her jaw. At looking away, that jaw tension, that's covered anger. And what happens next? She looks back at him, but this time she's absolutely serious and with her chin high up, almost defiantly. This was an outright foreshadowing of what was going to happen 3 years later, right on their faces. And I'm really sorry for Harry, because this is the moment that confirms that he was sure that Meghan joining the royal family could work. Now, what about Meghan's reaction? What does it mean? And this is absolutely critical if you want to unmask narcissistic behaviors. Narcissists cannot stand being taken away from the spotlight. Anything that barely resembles teamwork, anything that takes the attention away from them, anything that makes them feel or look less special will trigger them. And when I say anything, I say it just like Amber Heard. Amber.
Anything. Anything.
Yeah, anything. That's the reason behind Meghan's reaction when Harry affirms that she's going to be, how did he say? Another team player, part of the bigger team. That was a paper cut with lemon juice for her, and a nice strategy that you can use if you suspect that someone is a narcissist. And that's why narcissists will stop at nothing to separate their partners or their victims from friends and family. And guess what? Meghan did it while gaining worldwide attention. That's what I call the big leagues of narcissism. I've wondered, could Harry be looking for a second mother? Someone to fill in the void that Diana left? That would explain so many things, especially the awkwardness that he displays almost every time he's with her. For example, look at this scene. This clip had originally resurfaced because people were claiming that Meghan had interrupted Harry and was trying to steal the spotlight in the group. But due to the very fact that the clip is edited, we cannot be sure that Meghan interrupted Harry. It looks like Harry was introducing her to the group. But what can be seen with no problem is the difference in attitude between them. Meghan finds it easier to reach out, smile, and connect, while Harry, well, stays slouching, grabbing his own hands and covering his belly and doing funny things with his mouth. It reminds me of James Corden's interview with Harry. They spent quite some time together, and even Corden went to the mansion from the Prince of Bel-Air to prank Harry into buying it. All the time Harry was laid back and relaxed. Then Corden FaceTimed Meghan. What do you think that happened right at that moment with Harry's attitude? It changed. He crossed his arms. He was looking to the sides of his ashamed. There's absolutely nothing wrong with a power couple when both of them have a strong personality and charisma. But whenever there's a power imbalance, and that's what we are looking at here, no matter how much chemistry they have at first, it will be increasingly harder to last. I think Harry does love her. He seems really infatuated with her, but not so sure if leaving his life as a royal was the right call. As for Meghan, there's still so many questions like the one I made in my prior analysis. Why lie about Kate? Why make Harry confront and distance himself from his brother William? Those are the questions that only match a narcissist's patterns. And we also got a glimpse of that back in 2017.
What was it like introducing Meghan to your father and your brother?
What was it like? It was exciting. I mean, I've been seeing her for a period of time when I literally didn't tell anybody at all. And then William was longing to meet her, and so was Catherine. So
in body language, it's useful to notice the time of events discussed to create the relationship with the nonverbal signals. Previously, Harry was optimistic about how Meghan could join the big team of his family, and now he's discussing a past event that was telling his father and brother about her. That's why you could think that the two reactions are contradictions, but they are not, because one of them refers to an optimistic view into the future and the other an uncomfortable event of the past. We already remember from the Oprah interview that Harry didn't like to talk much about his relationship with his father, and even if here is talking about Charles and William at the same time, we could say that the Charles topic was a bit uncomfortable for him even before getting married with Meghan. There are so many divergent points about their relationship, both with body language, attitude, and values, that it's hard to imagine that it is going to be a soft ride, at least for him. Only time will tell. Remember that I've got a gift for you, my 100 body language tips in a free PDF that you can find right in the description. And don't forget to subscribe if you don't want to miss any of my body language episodes and tips. See you next time!